So we are back with some more Championship score predictions, and coming up this weekend we have got a huge weekend in the Championship. When you guys will be watching this, the transfer window will have now been concluded. As well as that, coming up this weekend, we've got first going up against second, we've got fourth going up against fifth. We've also got some huge games at the bottom of the Championship as well, so I'm very interested to get your guys' views on everything currently going around the Championship. As always, all this weekend's fixtures will be listed in the description down below so that you guys can easily go ahead and make your score predictions. Then if you do successfully manage to get any of them correct, your comment will be included at the start of the next video. And when I am recording this video, it is currently transfer deadline day, so a few things could change by the time the weekend comes around from when I'm recording now. Obviously not all the deals have been confirmed, but we've had some pretty big ones go through so far, so do let me know down below how you feel your club got on transfer deadline day. But apart from that, guys, let's go ahead and hop into my score predictions. And so we'll start out with the game going on tonight between my team Preston and Derby County, a game which I'm very much looking forward to. Preston, lately in the Championship, have finally hit a good run of form. We've won our last two matches very convincingly ever since we've had all our new signings come into the side and we've had players returning from injury. We've looked like the side from last season which finished 7th in the Championship. Scoring goals hasn't been the problem for us so far this season. We've actually scored more goals than Derby so far. Players like Stockley and Potts have hit the ground running for us, and players that are coming back into the squad like Ben Pearson and Sean Maguire have had a massive impact on us. But one thing I've been really impressed with Preston in our last 2 or 3 matches has been our defensive stability. In my opinion, our best centre-back partnership has to be Ben Davies and Jordan Storey, our 2 youngest centre-backs. As much as I love Paul Huntington, he's been an absolute liability this season, and the more I see Davies and Storey next to each other, the more confidence that fills me with. But there's no doubt that this Derby squad does possess a lot of quality. That's why they're currently sat in the top 6 of the Championship. Someone we need to keep tabs on in this game is Martin Waghorn. Had quite a slow start at Derby, made a few cameo appearances from the bench, but wasn't really doing much for them. But lately, he's been looking like a man possessed. He's been excellent for Derby lately, and we're certainly going to need to keep tabs on him. For this one, I don't think there's going to be all too much in it, although Preston's recent record against Derby has been absolutely shocking. We've not beat them in our last 11 encounters with them, so I'm hoping that'll change for this game, but I feel like Derby will give us a good run for our money. I'll say this one will finish as a 1-1 draw, and FIFA's going to agree with me. Then moving on into the Saturday fixtures, we got Birmingham going up against Nottingham Forest. Quite a tough one to call this weekend. Forest have been quite busy in the transfer window. They did complete the signing of Leo Bonatini coming on loan from Wolves for the rest of the season. Quite an interesting transfer in my opinion. Does add a bit more firepower to their forward line, there's no doubt about that. Bonatini's been a player who I've always been a little bit mixed on whenever I've seen him play at Wolves. Some games I watch him and the game just tends to pass him by, but he did play a decent role in Wolves' promotion season. Scored 12 goals that year. Forest also picked up their first win under Martin O'Neill last weekend, a convincing 3-1 home victory over Wigan Athletic, albeit that was against a Wigan side who have struggled on the road so far this season. Going up against this Birmingham team will be a completely different test for them. When I'm recording this video, it's looking likely that Birmingham will have kept hold of Che Adams come the end of the transfer window, which I'm sure all the Birmingham fans will be absolutely buzzing about that. Birmingham in their last game in the Championship involved in a 3-3 draw. Lee Camp is just a really bizarre goalkeeper that I can't get my head around. The first goal he conceded against Swansea was a really bizarre one, but even so, I expect Birmingham to be a tough side to break down in this one. Nottingham Forest I still expect to be a little bit inconsistent as they continue to find their groove under their new manager. For this one, I'm actually going to back Birmingham for a 2-1 home victory. FIFA's going to say it'll be 1-0 Forest. And then we've got Brentford going up against Blackburn Rovers. Blackburn currently find themselves only 3 points off the playoffs. They've gone on a fantastic run lately in the Championship, winning their last 4 games, but going away to Brentford is not going to be an easy game. Brentford have seemingly found a bit of their form they had from the start of the season once again, and Thomas Frank has seemingly got to grips with being the Brentford manager. They've been scoring a lot more goals lately, and they have been looking a lot more like the side they were last season. For this one, I expect quite a few goals to be scored, although saying that, Blackburn defensively have been looking a lot more resilient lately. They've kept 3 clean sheets in their last 3 Championship matches, and Adam Armstrong has been an absolute formidable force for them going forward lately. I don't think there's going to be all too much in it between these two sides. Both are going to look to get on the ball and dictate the play. Both teams are going to create a lot of opportunities, and in the end of it, I'm going to say it'll finish as a 2-2 draw, with FIFA saying it'll be a 1-1. And Bristol City are a side who find themselves only 2 points off the playoffs at the moment. They're going up against Swansea City this weekend, with the home side winning their last 4 matches in the Championship and looking very convincing in the process. We'll touch on Swansea for a minute though, because when I'm recording this video, it is currently transfer deadline day, and a lot is being made of Swansea at this point in time. When I am recording this video, it has been confirmed that Wilfred Boney has left the club. It's looking very likely that Daniel James will be leaving, possibly Montero and Leroy Fer as well. Swansea, if all those deals do happen, obviously you guys will know by the time you're watching this, Swansea have had a bit of a disaster of a deadline day. I'm not going to lie about that. I can understand some of the sales, people like Wilfred Boney getting the big earners off the books, but letting people go like Daniel James, that's got to be gutting for the Swansea fans. Now, what I've been saying for the majority majority of this season, I always felt like this year would be a bit of a transition season for Swansea, but with that current group of players and a bit more investment in the summer, I really thought they'd be challenging for the top 6 next season. If they're going to continue selling their key assets to fellow championship clubs though, I'm not sure I can see that being the case. But if these sales continue to happen and key players continue to leave the club, where does that leave Swansea? I'm not so sure. Going into this one, if all those players have ended up leaving, they will probably be a little bit short for this one, and going up against the Bristol City side who have been looking very defensively resilient lately. They've not been conceding a lot of goals and they've been coming up with some big moments in matches lately. For this one, I am going to fancy Bristol City to continue their run in the Championship with another victory. I'm going to say this one will end as a 2-1 home victory with FIFA back in Bristol. Then we got Hull going up against Stoke City. Stoke have been a side very busy in the transfer window and they made some top signs in my opinion. Sam Vokes, I'm very excited to see how he gets on back in the Championship after making his move from Burnley, and Danny Batth is a player who hopefully will be able to stabilise that Stoke backline, which has looked very dodgy so far this season. They're going up against a Hull side whose unbeaten run was ended last weekend in the Championship by Blackburn Rovers. They lost that game by 3-0, where quite early on the game just seemed to get away from them. They couldn't get their attacking flow going. I feel like this game Hull will approach a bit differently though. They'll be the ones looking to set the tempo of the game, and with some of their players running at this Stoke defence, which has looked a bit dodgy so far, you never know what could happen. Stoke in the last game in the Championship were looking very poor against a Preston offence side who really didn't need to click out a second gear. I expect to see a reaction from this Stoke squad though, with some of the new signings coming in, and we saw, glimpses of Stoke so far this season. For example, the game they had against Leeds United, there's no doubt that there is still talent in this squad. For this one, I don't feel like there'll be all too much in it. I'm going to back it to finish as a 1-1 draw, with FIFA saying it'll be 2-0 Hull. And then we got Ipswich going up against Sheffield Wednesday, and this is going to be Steve Bruce's first game in charge of the away side. I'm excited to see how he gets on for the rest of the season with this squad. I saw a bit of his press conference earlier today, and he was certainly saying the right things in that. Going up against Ipswich away does pose an interesting threat. On the road so far this season, Ipswich have been pretty tragic to say the least, there's no other way of putting it, but at home so far this season, there seems to be a bit of a different edge about them. And for Ipswich, it's games like this against sides like Sheffield Wednesday, which is going to decide their fate this season. Are they going to avoid the drop or not? They've certainly added a bit more firepower in the January transfer window. They got players who have been scoring a few goals lately. Freddie Sears has been in a decent run of form for them going forward. And defensively, they have shapened up despite losing their last 2 matches. Their last home game in the Championship was a 1-0 home victory over Rotherham United. I feel like this is going to be quite a similar low-scoring game. I don't see a flurry of goals being scored in this one. Steve Bruce is going to want to have a good impact with this Wednesday squad, but I feel like Ipswich may hold them out for a draw in this one. I'm going to back it to finish as a 1-1 with FIFA saying it'll be 1-0 Ipswich. And then we got Millwall going up against Rotherham United. Now, when I'm recording this video on transfer deadline day, nothing has happened in terms of incomings coming in to Rotherham, and I feel like that's a real disappointment for the rest of their season. They're currently only 1 point above the relegation zone, and with Reading and Bolton both picking up points in midweek, that's continued to pile the pressure on a side who's looking bang out of form at the moment, it has to be said. Going up against a Millwall side who I think have been looking fairly decent in the Championship lately. Their last game was a 1-1 draw against Middlesbrough, where I felt like Millwall were by far the better side for the majority of it. They've been scoring a lot more goals lately, and avoiding that game they had against Blackburn Rovers, on the whole they've been looking very good at home as well. Rotherham did put a lot into their last game in the Championship. They did narrowly lose to Leeds United, but there's no real shame in that. Semi Ajax got an absolute belter in that one as well, but I just feel like Millwall may edge Rotherham out in this one as well. For this game, I'm going to back Millwall for a 2-1 home victory, with FIFA saying it'll be a 1-1 draw. And then we got Reading going up against Aston Villa. A win for Reading could take them out of the relegation zone. I've got to say, out of all the sides currently in the relegation zone, Reading are probably the side who do fill me with the most confidence as to the side who I think has got the best chance of survival. They've been a club very busy in the transfer window with both outgoings and incomings as well. Reading fans, let me know down below what you've made of your transfer business. One really bizarre signing that really caught me off guard was Bakuna signing for Cardiff City from Reading. Honestly, I don't get it. Reading fans, let me know down below what that's all about. I think in the end the fee was around about £3 million as well, which I've got no idea about. But they're going up against Aston Villa in this game, who seemingly got their season back on track last weekend with a 2-1 home victory over Ipswich Town. That result only leaves Aston Villa 4 points off Derby County in the playoffs in 6th spot at the moment, so maybe that's not too much of a far cry for them at the moment. One signing I do very much like the look of for Aston Villa though is going to be Tyrone Mings, coming in from Bournemouth for the rest of the season. Left back has been a bit of a problem position for Aston Villa for the past 2 seasons are really. We've seen Alan Hutton do a job there, we've seen Neil Taylor fill in at times as well, but no one's really filled me with much confidence. I feel like Tyrone Mings really could provide width both going forward and defensively as well. I feel like it's a sensible option for them going forward. I don't feel like there's going to be all too much in this one, but I will just back Villa for a 2-1 away victory, with FIFA saying it'll be a 0-0 draw. And then we got Sheffield United going up against Bolton Wanderers. A good opportunity for Sheffield United this weekend to close the gap on the top 2 with Leeds and Norwich playing each other. On the whole, so far this season, they've not really had too many slip-ups. Their last game in the Championship was quite an entertaining 2-2 draw against Norwich City. Billy Sharp being the clutch player for the Blades once again, scoring 2 goals in that game. He just cannot stop scoring, and I've got to say, Sheffield United's attacking options are looking absolutely sublime at this point in time. They've got David McGoldrick, Billy Sharp, Gary Medine, and now Scott Hogan added to the equation as well. I'm really looking forward to seeing this Sheffield United side for the rest of the season. Last year, I think it's fair to say that this Sheffield United side burned out. They got a couple of injuries, and they never really seemed to recover from that. This season, though, I think there's a different mentality about this squad, and there's certainly a lot more quality in this team as well. And they're going up against the Bolton side, who have been lacking confidence lately in the Championship. Quite a bit of controversy with Bolton's last game during 1-1 with Reading. Quite a dubious penalty being awarded in that game. I feel like Bolton have been on the receiving end of quite a few dodgy decisions so far this season. But for this one, I'm going to back Sheffield United for a 2-0 home victory. And FIFA's going to agree with me. And then we got West Brom going up against Middlesbrough. 4th versus 5th, attack versus defence. Currently, West Brom have got the best attack in the Championship, scoring 57 goals already this season. But they're going up against a Middlesbrough side who have been very hard to break down so far, only conceding 20 goals in the Championship. So I'm excited to see what you guys are saying for this one. Do you think it's going to be a high scoring thriller, or do you think it's going to be kept to a fairly low one? Me personally, I think whenever Middlesbrough are on the scene, they are very good at killing and nullifying attacking threats like West Brom have. They've had a couple of shaky games this season, Middlesbrough, where defensively they've not quite looked at it, but lately in the Championship I think they have been looking better. They are unbeaten in the last 4 matches now, and some of their players have been coming into a bit of form. Jordan Hugill stepped up with a few big moments for Borough lately, but you can't take away from how good West Brom have looked at times this season going forward. When I'm recording this video on deadline day, a lot of speculation is currently going around West Brom. A lot of players are currently being linked to the club, so it'll be interesting to see if they do get any deals over the line. For this one, I don't think there's going to be all too much in between these two sides. I'm going to say it'll finish as a 1-1 draw. FIFA's going to say it'll be 1-0 West Brom. Wigan going up against QPR is an interesting one to call this weekend as well. Wigan have lost their last 2 matches in the Championship, both of them being away from home. But at home so far this season, you know, it has been a bit of an odd season for Wigan so far. At home, they have come up with some big moments. Their last game at home coming with that fantastic 3-0 home victory over Aston Villa, where it was potentially their best performance of the season so far. So they'll be hoping to replicate that against the QPR side, who have been slipping down the Championship lately. They're without a win in the last 4 matches now. Their last game in the Championship, a really poor performance from that QPR side, losing 4-1 against Preston off then. There was no real tempo to their play, and QPR are just a really hard side to call, because when they are on it, they got some fantastic attacking players that can make themselves hard to break down. But when just 1 or 2 components are missing from that Steve McLaren side, they all seem to cave in on each other, and everything seems to go wrong for this QPR side. You know, when they do have a bad game, it seems to be a really bad game. That's sort of been the case with QPR so far this season. So I'm not sure quite what to expect from this game. I've got a bit of a gut feeling that Wigan may bounce back being the home side in this one. I'm just going to edge them for a 2-1 home victory in this one, although I wouldn't be surprised to see QPR escape with something. I'll say 2-1 Wigan. FIFA's going to say it'll be 1-0 Wigan. And then to round off the video, we got the big game going on this weekend between Leeds United and Norwich City. It's first going up against second. Only 3 points currently separates these two sides, and it's going to be a nervy one. I'm really excited to watch this game of football, and I've got to say, if Leeds walk away with 3 points from this game, that is a huge step towards promotion this season. They'll go 6 points clear of second Norwich, and they just start to form that bit of a bridge between them and the rest of the Championship. But I don't think it's going to be that simple. If we think of late drama, these two sides are the teams who epitomise that. So I'm looking to see some of that in this game. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a sort of a 97th minute winner in this game or something like that. And although these two sides have undoubtedly been the best in the Championship so far, both of them do have weaknesses that the other side could pick up on. You know, we've only seen Leeds win 2 of their last 5 in the Championship. Norwich have only won 1 of their last 5. It would be a bit of an anticlimax if this one was to finish as a 0-0 draw, but I don't see that one happening. Leeds in their last game against Rotherham United was quite a dramatic one. Kiko Kasir popped up with a massive save in that game. I think he'll have quite a big influence on Leeds being a lot more resilient at the back for the tail end of this season. But I do think that Norwich will grab a couple of goals in this one, and I'm going to back this game to finish as a 2-2 draw. Guys, let me know in the comments down below, what are your score predictions going into this one? I don't think there'll be all too much to separate it, but it wouldn't surprise me to see this one end in 3-2 either way. But guys, they have it there on my championship score predictions for what I think is going to happen this weekend in the championship. Do you guys agree with me? Let me know in the comments down below. Also, let me know in the comments down below, what have you made of your team's transfer deadline day? Let me know down below with all the new signs your club's made. But apart from that, guys, that will now wrap it up for this video. So if you did go in to enjoy, make sure you do leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. As well as that, make sure you do subscribe for some regular championship content. But apart from that, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.